welcome to the finals here at Grand Prix Washington, D.C. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. I'm in the booth with Kenji Egashira, and we are all set. Will it be Paulo Vitor, Dom Rosa, Eric Froelich, and Ben Stark, or Andrew Tention, Petr Suhurik, or Peter Ingram as the winners? The interesting part about these teams, Kenji, as we sort of start to get underway here between our two teams, is one of them very well established, right? The Ben Stark, Froelich, and Paulo Vitor, they're all in the Hall of Fame. They've known each other, tested with each other, been friends for literal years. I mean, just forever. And they've even played a decent number of team GPs together. The other side's a different story. Petr Suhurik, for anybody that doesn't know him, he can be a little absent-minded sometimes. And it turns out about a week ago, he was talking to Martin Yuza, and he wanted to know about what they were going to do about this GP. And Martin's like, well, I'm playing with Shuhei and Corey. And Peter's like, it's a team GP?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. By the way, we see Keldon Overseer here for Petr. It's going to get killed by a Merfolk Trickster.
Yeah, straight up trade. Looks like he let him attack.
So even further than that, he put out the bat signal that said, I needed teammates for this. When he came in here at like 8:45 on Saturday morning, this is 15 minutes before the tournament.
I know what you're going to say.
He went over to Martin and he goes, do you know what Peter Ingram and Andrew Tention look like? Because I don't know them. I don't know what they actually look like.
Oh, that's so good.
And, so he went over and he found them. And now they're in the finals. So there you go.
That's amazing. Oh, definite highlight here. Yeah, not too fast of a start for Petr here, who has a really low to the ground curve. Now, when Petr was drafting, I wasn't covering it. Jake and Maria were doing it, but you know he kind of stuck to the plan. He went all in on red-white, didn't deviate, didn't really take any hate draft cards. Whereas I think the team of PV, Eric, and Ben, they're much more open to doing such things. You know, they've team drafted for so long. I think they have an established idea of what you need to do when you're team drafting.
I would say it's very well aligned.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which really helps out when all three of you on the team have that, because you're all going to be approaching it similarly. You don't have a big, leak where somebody's going to just spew off a bunch of value.
You know, it looks like Eric's drawn his better part of the deck, so. Wow. Marshall, look at this. Helm of the Host now. Blood Tallow Candle on the battlefield, ready to take down any large threat from Petr, who is only using the Memorial to Glory here. Helm on a Narumiha might quickly end this game.
But Kenji, it's a legend.
That loses legendary. Also, it's going to pump each other up. Each?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Narumeha is a wizard.
So, I mean, it's a little bit risky to attack, or sorry, equip here when Petr's holding up so much mana. You think of something like a Blessed Light could really blow you out. But if it resolves.
Here we go. This is the big moment.
And if you get
go
the
to
trigger.
Combat. Go to combat.
Game?
Grabbing a token?
Game.
Oh, that is going to do it, I bet. Really difficult to raise from here.
Yeah, so I think.
Free creatures. Get your creatures over here.
Eric might attack with one, but he's going to play a little bit cautiously, as that will just take over the game in the next 2 or 3 turns.
Isn't it just a 2-turn clock?
It is if he wants to race. Now, Petr does have the 2/1/1, so we'll see what Eric opts to do here. He likes his idea. Okay.
I mean, how does Eric lose? He could take 4 here down to 6.
Multiple pump spells.
Right, or land and another Overseer.
Or, Skizik, something like that. We know Petr has a ton of pump spells
still not quite enough
in his deck, so this could be it. If Petter's making this attack,
oh boy.
I would not be surprised if he has it.
He has double run amok.
Marshall, that's enough damage. That's Xaxes.
3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for Xaxes. Eric Froelich gets punished for that attack. Is that game?
Oh,
a Shivan Fire says, wow. I only take 9. Eric Froelich takes his time, makes sure that he sees it correctly, snaps off the token, and look at that little smile from Petr. He's like, really, man? You had it the whole time?
Oh, yeah. Well, that attack makes a lot more sense from Eric's perspective. If you have that Sheev in fire, it becomes a lot harder for Petter to kill you.
Even then, I mean, Petter needed 2
Exactly.
cards.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, you're totally right, though. And then any 2 of the creatures getting through for Eric, yeah, et cetera, et cetera. Unbelievable finish to that game. Eric Froelich calmly, coolly, collectedly snaps off a 1-1 and falls to 1 life, but that's plenty enough. And he wins the game. Now he's having a chat with Ben Stark. They're probably just talking about basketball or something.
Well, you guys want to go get dinner after this, you know?
You think LeBron's the GOAT? Bren's like, absolutely.
Oh, that's why Eric won the game so quickly.
What?
He wants to go watch the game afterwards.
Absolutely. Thank you, Eric. I wouldn't hate it myself. All right, now we have a more developed board state and a little bit more of a stall out here between 2, it looks like black-based decks, though lots of stuff in the graveyards for both Ben Stark and a few cards for Peter Ingram. What do you make out of the situation here?
Looks like the board's pretty well stabilized. Fight with Fire just took out a Grun by the looks of things in the graveyard ordering, and that Eldest Reborn is actually going to take the Grun on Peter's following turn.
Oh, it's already on the second chapter.
Yeah.
Oh, cancel that order.
Wow, that was
soul
a
salvage.
Great timed Soul Salvage here.
Yeah, that means that the best card that he can get is a Deathbloom Thallid, or if he'd like, he can get the...
is that a Sapherd in Ben's graveyard
as
well?
Okay. So those are 2 okay choices.
Yeah.
You're going to take your value, but that's not the same thing as getting
No, absolutely not. But Peter still has the largest creature on the battlefield right now. He has that Feral Abomination. Thallid Omnivore also not terrible.
I mean, Feral Abomination does have keyword big. It's just bigger than most everything else. Death Touch, sure.
Yeah, well, lets it rumble with the Grun. With Whisper now on the battlefield, too. I think this game is kind of even, although Peter's the one that has the first priority to attack this turn, as Ben's not going to get that Grun on the battlefield for at least another turn. Yeah, not ideal blocks here for Stark.
But he's just going to go ahead and throw the spider in front. This will require sacrificing 3 creatures in order to get the Omnivore cleanly passed.
Oh, just 2, I think, right? That's only a 4/6 spider?
Oh, you're correct. Only 2 creatures. So that does leave him with the Sapherd as well.
Yeah, that's probably the reason he took the Sapherd, although he could have taken the Deathbloom Thallid.
Similarly.
Yeah, similarly. I think he just wanted the creature out of the graveyard because of the Whisper. Doesn't want to let Ben get some nice advantage there. Ah, yes, the 2/2 Goblin here on turn 7 or whatever it is. Still anybody's game, though. Ben has that card advantage in Tome, letting him filter out some draws. We're just going to see a regular Grun here. But that just straight up trades with the Feral Abomination, if Peter wants to.
Assume Ben wants to.
Yeah, probably with the Whisper on the battlefield just to get it back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got some expendable creatures with those 2 Saprolings.
Right, he can also just turn them into the spider itself if he wants to sack the Saprolings.
That's right.
Block, sack.
Yeah, this is very much a grind, right? I mean, we're seeing Ben block with the spider just to get him to say, okay, well, get rid of the Skin Witch and some other random creature, and next turn I'll try to turn that into some value. It's small incremental advantage is coming into play. Oh, Peter looks like he's got attack hands out.
I see a multicolor red-black card in Peter's hand.
That would be Garna. Oh.
Which would be a reason for him to not really care about trading creatures off this turn. There you guys can see Garna. So now it's on Ben. What does he want to do? Does he want to trade the Grun away? Does he want to just make some chump blocks and then sack and get the spider? Well, you're not really pressing enough damage to kill Peter. Not on the following turn, unless you have a pump spell for Grun, but that's only considering if Peter doesn't actually have anything to follow up here, which presumably he does.
All right, so Ben's going to put Grun in front of the Omnivore, and he's just going to go ahead and chump block here. I also expect a Whisper activation.
Depending on if...
Although, that being said,
Yeah.
maybe I don't expect that. He would have blocked with the other Sapperling, right?
Well, it depends if Peter wants to pump up the Omnivore anymore to make the Grun a 7/7. I think he just accepts the trade, and Garna kind of gets him here a little bit.
Yeah, I think Ben probably knows that this is coming.
Right. And nice value.
That's good value.
Yeah.
Again, it's a grind. It's incremental advantage, and that was a nice hit of advantage there for Peter Ingram.
Yep.
See, their only game finished is that game that we started on, Eric Froelich versus Petter Sahurik.
And Ben's falling behind at this point.
Definitely.
Remember, now all of Peter's creatures are going to have haste, non-Garna creatures.
We could see Urz's Tome come into play as a key card for Stark. He now has another historic card in his graveyard, so it's draw a card at this point.
Sure, yeah. Even
This
just
is
looting, if he needs the answer, though, is going to be relevant.
Mm-hmm. But you know what's better than looting? Just keeping the card. That said, he may want to keep Grun in the graveyard, since he does have Whisper.
Doesn't help when you're dead, though.
Confirmed. And things look pretty scary from Ben Stark's standpoint as well. Remember, Garner the Bloodflame has multiple abilities, including giving your other creatures haste. And we already know about 2 creatures in hand for Ingram, and those could come down next turn and just... Bleh.
Yeah, both of them can actually be cast out and then still have at least one activation of the Omnivore.
Scary stuff.
This is a lot of mana, though. Okay.
Thorn Elemental is bigger than anything else on the battlefield. A little awkward against the Abomination since it's a trade, but he'll take it.
So Peter could just play the Omnivore and attack with just Omnivore and Feral, although I think Ben would be pretty happy to throw the Elemental in front of the Omnivore and make Peter do some kind of large sacrifice trade.
Right. I mean, look at the board. He would have to sack Garna and the Sap Herd if he wants to just attack with the Omnivore. And that, I think, is a trade that Ben would be happy to make.
Okay, with the extra land for the turn, he can actually play the Bloodstone Goblin and sack the 2/2/2s if he wants to, but still that's not a very appealing...
No, I mean, because he's still just trading for the Thorn
appealing
Elemental,
not
right?
trade right now.
I mean, I kill 2 of my creatures just for the privilege of trading off with yours. And remember, Whisper's still active, too. So Ben doesn't have a lot of fodder right now.
No, but he is stabilizing.
Yeah, that was a big play for him. Just playing something that's just larger than the board when you're trying to get in with solid Omnivore is really nice. And Pete has to do some math here because this is not obvious.
Yeah, I'm not
Feral
sure.
Abomination feels like it wants to come in regardless.
I don't think the Omnivore wants to attack this turn, but I think the Feral just keeps...
I feel like it doesn't either.
Yeah, wants to keep shipping.
Oh, boy. And it looks like
Okay. And this is
Pete
fine.
disagrees.
Yeah, because if the Thorn Elemental blocks the Omnivore, then the Feral Abomination has some really awkward blocks on it. But I think this is just Peter trying to push the advantage he gained earlier.
Yeah, he's also trying to take advantage of the fact that Ben is significantly behind on life total, and Peter can really pressure it. Oh, boy. Peter's actually taking a long look at what an attack with all of these looks like, probably thinking to himself, if I'm going to sacrifice these anyway, I may as well just throw them in the red zone. Maybe a different situation will pop up that is advantageous for me, but why not, right? Because Ben is really incentivized to try to put something in front of that Thallid Omnivore, though this does get interesting now with everything attacking. How do you break down the blocks for Ben?
Well, he's going to have to block massively. I think he's going to get the Grun back as well after a few blocks, so he might ship like Whisper in front of the Feral, Spider in front of one of the 2/2s, and then the Thorn Elemental in front of the Omnivore.
And then just say,
And
okay, what do you want to do?
say
Peter?
go, right, because you can let the Whisper die and eat 2 of Peter's creatures if he just passes priority like that.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially given that he gets to take out the Omnivore in that situation and still have the Thorn Elemental to block the Abomination next turn.
Yeah, and then if Peter does decide to sacrifice 2 creatures and make the Omnivore a 7/7, well, then you can, in response, sack Whisper and the Spider, to get the Grun. And so you're trading a creature that would have died anyways, Whisper, plus the Spider for the 5/5.
Okay, well, let's see how Ben ends up breaking this down.
Oh, maybe he just might make the straight-up trade. Force some action here again on the Omnivore. And this is a similar block, although it's kind of a clean eat for Peter on the Spider, which makes it a little bit awkward, and just a trade on the Thorn Elemental, which is not preserving
Yeah.
Ben's creatures.
This is not maximum blocks here
Right,
for Stark,
right.
right?
Now, he might not take any damage here, as you probably want the Whisper to die if you can. So it's a little bit awkward, but you're sacrificing your only unblocked creature here.
Right, and that's why Ben didn't block the Goblin. It wasn't because he was afraid of something getting kicked. He only had 2 mana available. Right. He was just saying, well, you want to keep my Whisper
exactly,
alive?
Yeah.
I'll dare you. And, of course, the Goblin is a much better creature on the battlefield than the Sap Herd, just because it does have at least some type of ability.
Okay, now we're going to see the Whisper activation. Since the Spider would die anyways, the Whisper would just be a trade.
That's right. Okay, well, that did end up trading off and leaving him with an answer, though not quite as big of an answer as you were hoping, the 7/7 versus the 5/5 for the Thallid Omnivore.
Yeah, so as long as Peter doesn't draw any more creatures, this is going to work out a little bit better, as instead of having the Omnivore in the graveyard and the Fair Abomination on the battlefield, it's vice versa.
Sure.
Either way, it put Peter to the test, do I want to sacrifice this, and how many creatures?
Do you like that attack from Peter in retrospect?
I'm not thrilled with it. I thought just the attack with the Feral Abomination would have been okay.
Okay.
But
how about take 10?
Sure. Now, the thing is, if the trigger resolves, then Peter knows he's pretty safe from a pump effect. Because if Grunt attacks, you would have to use a pump spell prior to the trigger resolving.
That's right, which would mean that he can block.
Correct.
Okay.
As it stands, it's not super likely Ben has a way to deal 5 extra damage this turn.
4 is a possibility.
4, yes. Gift of Growth is a possibility. Or
4 and 5 are a big gap here.
Precisely.
Oh, look at this. 2 creatures now from Ben. A second copy of Whisper and an Elfham Druid that are effectively chump blockers, but Pete took it. Pete's at 5 now.
I think Pete drew a spell this turn, and if it's a creature, that can also just bash in again.
Yeah, though Ben's not likely to lose from this spot. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, he has 2 blockers.
Well, the Omnivore is a forced block, right?
Yeah, but then he can block anything else.
Correct, yeah. So let's see if Peter has 2 creatures.
Okay, that could be a big problem.
That could be a huge issue.
And he's got a lot of mana as well. Ben is down to, the only card he can represent is Fungal
Infection. He doesn't have any cards in hand, though,
Is
does
he empty-handed?
Yeah, I think he's hell-bent
right.
at this point.
He's just out of cards anyway. So Pete just needs to do the math and see what he's got in his hand. But he did just take a big hit from Grun.
Thankfully, Grun does not trample.
No, he will not lose to Grun just sitting here, that's for sure. But this is getting really interesting because he does need to pressure Ben. If he lets Ben untap with Whisper, he can get back the Thorn Elemental, and that is lethal.
That will be a one-shot, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so it is two spells in Peter's hand, 1 red, 1 black.
What are those
Again, I couldn't
spells?
make out quite what they were. Is that could be a Journey Mage or a Radiating Lightning?
Yeah, I believe it's a Journey Mage. Let me see if I can just grab the deck list here. Well, he might just show us here anyway.
Oh, Kazarov!
Oh, how about a hasty Kazarov in the black-red deck, no less.
And because
he does have a Journey Mage in his deck, by the way.
Because Ben doesn't have any flyers, he's effectively at 3 if Kazarov attacks, meaning any 2 of these other 3-power creatures must be blocked. So if Peter wanted to go, he could attack with the Omnivore and the Garna here, force 2 chump blocks, and then pray that Ben doesn't draw anything. Now, I like this safer play here.
You do.
Because the Kazarov's just lethal by itself anyways. You still have the Garna on the battlefield.
And you don't just lose to removal.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Good play here from Pete Ingram. I don't know what Ben can even draw at this point. He had no cards in hand.
It would have to be... Well, no, I guess a singleton removal spell would work.
Would it?
Yeah, kill the Kazarov, and then you could block the Garna and the Thallid Omnivore. You would only be taking 2 on board.
Oh, sure. Still in a really bad spot.
Yeah, really bad spot.
Realistically dead from that point. And he's going to go ahead and activate the Urza's Tome.
It's been chilling there for a while.
Yeah, that was a forest that he drew with it. I don't know what he drew for his draw step, though. But right now, he still has to finish resolving that ability unless he exiled something. Which I don't think he did. Oh!
There it goes.
There goes Whisper. So he gets to keep that forest.
Looks like Paulo won the first game versus Andrew.
Oh, yeah, good eye. And it looks like he evened up on the middle match there. So Petr Sahurik has bounced back from that Game 1 loss. Ben is now considering just forcing a chump block here with that Sap Herd. What is he casting?
Well, it's going to have to... No, he's just dead on board then.
Llanowar Envoy, he is toast. All Peter has to do is just attack in the air, and the game's over. I'm not sure if Ben's maybe talking to a teammate here, talking to Eric or something like that.
Well, he has the spider in his graveyard, right? So he can, like, do some... Well, no, even then.
He can't do both,
yeah,
though, right?
Not if Peter attacks with everything.
He's talking to the judge, it looks like.
But the problem is he would have to sack 2 creatures prior to blockers being declared to get the spider.
That's the tricky part.
Yeah.
And Ben, of course, is representing lethal here as well with that Thorn Elemental if he can ever activate Whisper and still be alive.
I don't think he's going to get another turn, unfortunately. So play your Journey Mage if that's indeed what it was, and then attack with all of your 3 power creatures, and that should be good enough.
Including the Journey Mage.
Yes.
Here's another hasty threat, and there's the Journey Mage. And by the way, that Skin Witch.
It's a wizard.
It's a wizard. So you're at 1, attack with everything. And that's game number 1 going to Peter Ingram. Let's jump back to our middle table here.
All right.
Where we're in game number 3 between these two. And they're having a bit of a slugfest because we saw Eric Froelich kind of just narrowly escape death in that first game. But Peter Sahurik fought back and won just while we were watching that other game. So he's got Valduke as well as a Aven Sentry. Oh, snap trade. Eric's going to be happy with that. Naru Meha Master Wizard is on the battlefield.
Oh,
and
here we
Helm of
go
the
again.
Host. I know how this goes, Kenji.
Now, again, this is a very slow card. A very slow card, though. So if Peter even just has 1 removal spell here, well, then Eric effectively has nothing on the board.
Right. The interesting part about this is that Petter would have to not tap his mana.
Correct.
Right? I mean, he has to leave up 3 mana minimum?
At minimum for like an Invoke the Divine, yeah.
Or a Wizard's Lightning or something.
Wizard's Lightning, sure.
Right?
Something like that.
Yeah, but 2 mana, there's nothing. 1 mana, there's nothing. Right?
Yeah.
I'm jogging my...
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I can't think of anything that... I mean, you know... Yeah, he's going to tap out for Quende.
Okay.
And this is just the green light for Eric Froelich to start pumping out 4/4s and then 5/5s. And it's like Pack Rat all over again.
It is. It is exactly like Pack Rat. And this is the premium turn to do it if he wants to. Like, I guess the dream here would be... No, I guess this is turn 5, isn't it? Never mind. I was going to say have that Sheevan Fire again. In addition to the equipping of the Helm.
Indeed. But no, he actually does have a land drop to give, right? Because he played Naru Meha and then the Helm.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Huh.
So now he has to think about ways he can lose again, and Run Amok is a really good way to lose when your opponent has a Quende on the battlefield.
That's true. That is very true. He can force these issues, though. Oh, there's a red mana.
Yeah, but he might not have any other play anyways. So.
Yeah, but this does give him 8 power and toughness.
Right.
So Run Amok's still going to have a hard time getting him actually dead through that.
And I think this is a different scenario than the game 1 that we saw. I think you do attack with both here.
It's not quite a 2-turn clock with only those 2, but with the third one, it absolutely
is. Yeah. Because if you leave 1 back, then you're committing yourself that you're probably going to block the Quende. And I don't know if that's something you want to do. Yeah, Eric makes the attack.
I love it.
All right, so a singleton Run Amok, again, does not kill Eric here.
That would be 13 damage total.
Right.
So he needs 2 of them?
He needs 2 pump spells again. Adamant Will plus Run Amok, I think, would work, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14, 17.
Exactly.
Oh, wait. Is Peter at 9? Oh, no, right. Yeah, Peter's at 9.
Yeah.
Eric's at 7. Sorry.
Yeah, he just took 8.
All right, we'll see.
Well, he's attacking. I mean, what do you got?
And
Okay,
he has the Adamant Will.
Oh, my God, and he
That's
has the Adamant Will as well.
Does he have the Sheevan Fire?
No, he
not.
Doesn't, and Petter Sahurik defeats Eric Froelich with, once again, the double pump spell. Gets the job done, and Eric is shocked. He just throws his cards on top and says, yep, you got me. Extends the hand, and that means that the team on the right is just 1 game away now. Either Peter Ingram or Andrew Tention, if they can win a game, you're looking at your champions here defeating one of the best teams in the room.
Oh, absolutely.
Triple Hall of Famer team here.
Looks
like a divest here.
Yep, exactly what that is, with 2 lands for Ben over there. And
that is a lot of information.
I think I can see a Llanowar Envoy. Maybe a Tadiova at the end there. It's the magic art game, you know?
I do think that is what it is. I don't know what's going on over there, but it looks like the judge. Oh, I think that Andrew Tention may have had an Oracle text ruling he wanted to get, so he's getting that. But it looks like Peter Sahurik's attention is on Pete Ingram.
Oh, this is game one. Or this is Tenjum and Rosa over here.
Yeah. All right, looks like he's back now.
So I know exactly what Andrew was asking. What happened was Andrew attacked. Paulo played a seal away. Andrew went to ask, okay, if I kill the seal away before it exiles the creature, does my creature ever leave the battlefield? The answer is no.
The answer is no.
So he invoked the Divine with seal away trigger on the stack. He gains the 4 life. His creature doesn't get removed. And I think that's where we are now.
All right, looks like Paulo's a little behind here.
Whoa, there's the real life totals.
Hello. Oh, but there's Ariel. This could be the card that brings Paulo Vitor Rosa back from the brink.
Let's see if he has a Blessed Light here.
Yeah, any type of removal spell could be really good. He's going to start clocking him in the air.
But this is still really good, though, because Ariel is really slow when you're trying to kill a creature with even more than 2 power.
Extremely slow, so we're going to need to see a removal spell from Paulo, and it's going to have to come... Oh!
Wait, does he have a land, though? He cannot cast that.
He doesn't have white mana?
Well, he does, but he needs a 6th land.
I see. He can filter 1 through the Envoy.
Exactly.
By the way, what we're talking about, for those of you that missed it, is he did draw Blessed Light for his draw step, but he does need...
I don't think he has that 6th land. He doesn't. Oh, okay. Windgrace Acolyte's a really good one, though.
Windgrace Acolyte is actually perfect.
Yeah.
It increases the clock by another turn and gives him a blocker in case that thing were to die. But, you know, it's hard to imagine it dying at this point, as Ariel probably would have been killed. So let's see if Andrew Tenjum can find his way back out of this. Oh, this is a really close one.
Well, it's close until Paulo draws another land, and then
and then it does fall apart pretty quickly because Andrew Tenjum's board is actually quite weak besides that.
Exactly.
An 0-2, a 2-2 vanilla, and a 1-1 vanilla. They're not going to get the job done against Ariel. He really is all in on this Aven.
Sapling Migrate? Surgeon at Arms.
That also is not going to get the job done here, as Ariel is pretty good at stalling out those type of boards. And it's become clear that Andrew Tenjum does not have a removal spell at the moment. So a land off the top for Paulo Vitor Rosa. It looks like Andrew's not even attacking.
Nope.
Isn't Paulo at 10 now?
He should be. Yeah, life should be updated, right? He gained 3 off of the Windgrace.
I think last turn when he cast the Windgrace Acolyte, he went from 7 to 10. We're going to try to get an update on that, though.
So it looks like Andrew's probably just going to try to go wide at this point. I don't think you can really play the play better creatures method, especially when Paulo has so many cards left in his hand.
But you know what's really hard is Ariel. Like, she makes going wide difficult because she can just pace you at better creatures per turn.
The problem is it takes a while for Paulo to do that. He has to invest 2 of his mana right now since he doesn't have a white source, right? And he's kind of stuck on lands already as it is. So.
Yeah, but I mean, look at the board now, right? Like, even if he just said go, like, Andrew doesn't realistically have an attack, right?
Well, I mean, something like a charge would pull him right back in. I'm just saying, you know, this is the game plan of Andrew. Maybe he just hopes to draw one of his pump effects if he has one.
No, that's for sure. But just simply going wide, I don't think is going to be able to get him there. He is going to need help in the form of that type of card.
Every turn that progresses is in favor of Paulo for sure.
Is there a Song of Froelich or something in there for Tenjum? Something like that? Looks like Paulo's going to decide just to play a Deathbloom Thallid rather than mess around with the Ariel activation at this point.
Well, he can still use that Ariel, right? For white. Make a 2/2 knight.
It costs 3, though, right?
Oh, I'm thinking of the kill ability. You're right.
Yeah.
And Deathbloom a little bit stickier than a random knight, of course, and plus you'd have to tap Ariel anyways. I see multiple pump spells in Andrew's list. 2 Gift of Growth.
So those could help get the bird over the top?
2 dubs. That could also help push through.
Okay. Yeah, Paulo is playing extremely conservatively, just trying to last long enough to leverage Ariel and also cast his removal spell.
Oh, this is a big spell.
8 mana?
Well, it was technically a big spell.
You were not wrong. Does he need to tap something?
That does not work. Yeah, he has to tap a knight.
Yeah, he does have to tap a knight, does he not?
I've
never seen that.
I don't think that works, though.
I thought it was part of the cost, but maybe not. Maybe if we could get Ariel up on the screen. Here, I can look it up.
Yeah, we might have to double check that there.
Maybe we could get Ariel. Let's take a quick look at that. I've never actually seen that play.
Yeah, because
Chat says pretty sure it works. That's kind of how I feel about it too.
no, you have to tap Ariel and you have to tap
Well, can
Knights.
X be 0?
Right, tap. Oh, because the power of the Elfin. Sure.
Yeah,
Marshall will just.
Well, I just thought that you actually still had to tap something, but no, you don't. 0 it is. I love it.
Fair.
I mean, I don't think that's going to like win the game for Paulo.
No,
but
but
nice
hey, it's
play.
incremental. You know?
Super sweet.
Okay, here's
play.
the dub.
Oh, there's the dub. Wow. This does produce a 2-turn clock.
Remember, Paulo just needs
really
one
needs
land.
to find a land, and he does get a chance to block here as well if he'd like. The question is, do you block? I would be inclined to block.
Oh, okay, the problem is Andrew's at 28 life, and so by blocking, you're actually just throwing away one of your win cons. Now, in the late game, he knows he's going to win with the Ariel, though, and so this makes more sense.
That's what I think, too. I just think he's going to win this game if he gets to take that bird out.
Exactly.
But if he doesn't block here, and then somehow Andrew's like, oh, kill your thing, kill you,
Yep,
he's going to really be frustrated that he has such a strong board. And this is a huge decision, too. He does decide to chump because the GP's on the line.
Yeah, I think he has a dark bargain in his hand as well, right?
Who, Paulo?
Paulo.
Oh, that would be another reason to maintain your life total.
Yeah.
Just so that Andrew can't just play like 2 or 3 more random creatures and be like attack with all of them. Because Paulo does need to find a land, and he does
God,
he
okay,
even
there it
found
is.
the easy mode. And now he has a knight as well that can pick off one of the 1-powered creatures on the other side. Oh, boy.
Wow.
Now, there is nothing in green-white that interferes with the Blessed Light. Right? Adamant Will doesn't work. There's no hexproof. So Paulo can actually just do it whenever he wants. Ooh, this is getting really intense. He's going to play his planes. Eric Froelich offering his advice.
Looks like they're just not going to go with the main phase, though.
Sure. I don't think it really matters. Like Andrew, even if he draws a dub, isn't going to just throw it on there,
so
right? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
He could draw something like Ancient Animus, right?
Sure.
And if you drew Ancient Animus, well, then you're throwing away your Ariel.
All right, it sounds like we got to go over to table Charlie here because there's a decent chance that Pete Ingram.
I think somebody just kicked a Josu
That is
Vest.
Josu Vest with kicker, and that could easily be the GP winning play here from Peter Ingram. He was working in R&D not that long ago. They let him loose on the world, and boom, he found a Josu Vest, kicked, and that's an army in a can.
And he
look
shows
at
a
this.
fight with fire.
Fight with
Holy
fire
moly.
as well. Peter Ingram, Peter Sahurik, and Andrew Tention have won the Grand Prix.
Oh, man. That was with some powerful kicker cards, Marshall.
Petter says, nice to meet you guys. Congratulations. Dispatching with one of the best teams in the room. No small feat, and high fives from his teammates over there. That's Ben Freeman and Joe Demestrio. And we have our champions. They almost look like they can't believe it. Man, Ingram. I mentioned that I had walked over and asked both of the teams how they felt about their lists, and
Ingram
Pete
said his deck was
Petter
very good,
said,
right?
my deck's really good, and they were not messing around. They were good enough to get the trophy here, Kenji.
Yeah, congratulations to them. I mean, Peter kind of mised his way to the win in some of the games. Eric got him in the first game.
Kind of.
Well, you know.
Double pump spell.
He took the pump spells very highly. He had a lot of them, to be fair.
He did.
So.
And you know how explosive that can be with Quende.
Double strike, yeah.
That is one way that you can just piece together a win with some cards that, aren't normally very high picks, too. So impressive stuff there from our team. We're going to get a short interview with them in just a moment. But boy, oh boy, what stood out to you from the finals the most there, Kenji?
Well, just how different the decks really were from the sealed event, right? And this is what we expected, at least from our perspective. Team sealed, you get 12 packs. You guys are going to have raw power.
And we saw that.
Completely. In these team drafts, well, you're like, we saw Eric in his first pack especially kind of fuddle around. I got a Mirari's Conjecture. What am I doing in my deck? And so the power level drastically reduced. And even though I think the Hall of Famers obviously had more practice in this format, in this scenario,
Yeah.
the power of the cards got
Oh,
them.
great stuff. All right, sounds like we've got an interview lined up down there with our winning team.
Yeah.
Taking a look at them.
I think it's going to start soon.
Oh, there we go. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hey, Peter, congratulations. You are our champion along with your two teammates there. What's going through your mind right now?
Just a lot. Just Josie Vest, just being kicked. That's what it is right now.
You did it in style, Peter. You had two of the best kicker spells in the format to finish things off there.
In the fight with fire.
The game went just so long, and I was able to get so many lands with the double skittering surveyor activation.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Now, you, not that long ago, were working at Wizards of the Coast. They set you free upon the world, and now you're holding a trophy. Nice choice there, huh?
Yeah, it feels good for sure.
Now, tell us a little bit about how this team came together, because we were talking earlier that Petter hadn't even really met you guys or couldn't remember what you looked like or something. How did you guys get synced up as a team?
Yeah, so Tention and I have known each other for a little bit, but basically I was going to team with Andrew Jessup and Brad Carpenter, and we were having trouble finding a ride down. So Dan Jessup was going to team with these guys based on a Twitter kind of grouping. They basically needed a teammate.
A bat signal went out. Yep.
And then they decided to not go, and they were like, do you want to just team with them? And I was like, yeah, definitely. And, 15 rounds and a top 8 later, and we're just crushing the tournament.
Unbelievable. And you guys find yourself seated across one of the best teams in the room with 3 Hall of Famers, 20-something top 8, Pro Tour top 8 between them, and you just smashed them. Great work. That was really impressive stuff.
Thank you.
Man. So what does this mean for you guys as a team? This does qualify you, of course, for the Pro Tour 25th anniversary. So are you guys going to play together? How does that work?
I think we're going to see how it comes. I know Petter's on Revelation, so that might stop it. But, if it happens, I'd be more than happy to run it back with these guys. Right. I've made 2 great friends this weekend.
Awesome. Well, you know what? Thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us, guys, and congratulations. Make sure you tell your teammates since they can't hear us.
Thank you.
Wow, great stuff.
Absolutely.
Wow, he got a trophy, a bunch of money, pro points, a qualification, and 2 friends.
2 new friends.
That's the best weekend ever.
That's the best story ever. Way to close it out.
Stuff. And speaking of closing it out, that is, of course, going to do it for us here from Washington, D.C. We wanted to say thank you so much for joining us as it was a real pleasure bringing you coverage of Limited. Kenji and I are both very passionate about Limited. We love this format and Limited in general. We got a chance to sit here together and bring it to you. Of course, Maria and JVL feel the exact same way. I want to say thank you, of course, to everybody here that helps make these tournaments possible. That's the staff, the judges. If you've ever played in a Grand Prix, boy, you know how important they are to greasing the wheels, because these things are big and they can get way out of hand if you don't have the right staff on hand, and we certainly did that this time. And thank you to you. Thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate you coming along. So for everybody here on the coverage team, Rich Hagan, Jacob Van Loon, and Maria Bartholdi, Kenji Higashira, it's me, Marshall Sutcliffe, saying goodbye, and we'll see you next time.